friends! Hi, Mom. I wasn't going to make any more videos, but I decided you'd probably like to see this. This is an unfinished quilt. Alas, Grandma passed before she finished it, almost 4 years ago. And it has been sitting in a box in the closet ever since. Now, I'm finally tackling it. I hope I don't have to buy any more of this almost white fabric because I'm probably not gonna find a match. This particular quilt block type is called a jewel star. I googled it. Redpepperquilts.com actually called it a daisy chain, but it looks like what I'm looking for, and they actually have like a good picture of the edge and corners of the quilt. Okay, it sort of looks like they've got the star cut in half, and on the sides it looks like this block here that has the petal missing, and this looks like super straight, nice line. I would just have to cut the half hexagon or trapezoid, I guess, of that. But I don't have this fabric because all I have is what was in that box. I'm actually gonna have to add some of my own fabric to this, which is fine, I don't mind. There are a few spots where it's not completely sewn together, and I don't know if this is intentional or if she just didn't get to that yet. It appears that some of it has been sewn by hand and some of it has been sewn by machine. Perhaps it's specifically the hexagons in the middle that's by hand? No, because those are sewing the petals together. I mean, they look kind of like flowers, right? Would you call that a petal? I don't know. It's also a star, I guess. Bitch, please. I'm the star. I might finish the whole thing by hand because Michael's got his own sewing project he's going to be using the machine for. So...
These scissors stink.
Like, literally?
Don't like using them. I got scissors downstairs I can use.
Malodorous, I tell ya. I think it's kind of interesting that some of the edges are pinked, but most of them are not.
What is that?
What, this? Pinking?
Yeah. What's that smell?
Grandma smoked, okay? Yeah, the quilt stinks, I know. We can wash it when we're done.
Really? It smells like fart.
Molly. Anyways, you had a question and it's what is pinking?
That's right.
Pinking is when the edge of the fabric is like cut on a zigzag to avoid fraying, because fabrics that are cut on the bias don't fray, the bias being diagonal. Well, this is a bunch of itty bitty little diagonals. Hey. We are at Fields in Holland looking for matching fabric. It's pretty close, but I think the original from Grandma has slightly finer threads. I think I found it. What we've got here, I've got a piece of paper that I folded in half, and I'm going to measure. All right, it looks like the center is 5 inches. So I'm going to measure 5 inches down. It's going to be that point. Okay. So if we were to draw a line here, how long would my halfway point? I'd think of it as a halfway point, even though like that would be where the point is, but like this is, I don't know. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. I hate it when I don't have like perfect numbers. So this is like 3 3/8. All right, 3 3/8. And so if we were to draw, I might even just draw this line, because why not? Okay, it's very light, but I can see it. And this is 1 3/4. So I'm going to square out 1 3/4. One and 3/4. And then it's just a matter of drawing the lines. How long is this? Like 1 7/8, almost 2. And there it is. Fun fact, this is actually also fabric I inherited from Grandma. I'm honestly not too concerned about the grain of the fabric, in part because all of these pieces are like going in different directions. So no matter what, something's going to be not on the grain. And I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I actually used this fabric to make something else. But I kept the scraps because I think it's super cute. I like the fruit motif. Mindlessly sewing and listening to audiobooks here, I think I should address why I've been less YouTubing these days. I make videos for fun. I don't make any money from this. When it stops being fun, I stop making videos. I get a lot of gross comments, like for every "thanks for the tutorial" comment, I get 5 weirdos who seem to have mistaken me for some kind of pornographer. I don't like it. At one point, I checked the demographic statistics for my channel and discovered that 100% of my viewers are male. As cool as it would be if a bunch of dudes are real into sewing, I just don't think that's what's happening. It gives me the creeps a little. So, I'm not saying I'll never make another video, but don't hold your breath. I started off using a double strand of thread, but I realized that this was kind of excessive, so now I'm just using a single strand of thread. I am using a basic running stitch, copying what Grandma was doing. I have chosen to stitch only 2 sides at once before tying off, so instead of having one long thread, I have many short threads. I like to think that this makes it stronger because then if the thread breaks, it doesn't have very far to unravel before there's a knot. This particular fabric here with the bikes, light bulbs, and faucet may seem a little strange, but this print is actually meaningful to me because these are leftover bits from some pajama shorts that Michael made me a few years ago. I still have them, I still wear them. The ends of the quilt are stars cut in half, and that is what I am doing here. I am keeping an additional 1/4 inch as seam allowance. Really? Are you just gonna like sleep on my work? You are some cat. How's it going over there?
Okay, I think. Oh, hi. Hey, friends.
big is it? 4 by 64 by 88. This is the fabric that I'm going to use for the back of the quilt. I inherited this fabric from Grandma, or she actually gave it to me before she died, but anyways, like most quilt fabrics, it's 44 inches, which is not wide enough, so I'm going to double it, because I can, because I've got like 8 yards of it. Thanks, Grandma. I'm actually rather a fan of this print. I think it's kind of cute. These sort of remind me of blackberries, but then like there's wheat and like the flowers. It's pretty. Fun fact, here in North America, the Himalayan blackberry is an invasive species, and you can eat that one. So I'm gonna cut it a length of 92 inches, which is pretty long. Like, my room isn't really big enough for that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. One thing I love about this classic cotton quilting fabric is that it tears. So if I'm making a rectangle, just measure one side and it's great. Now I need the other rectangle. Like most quilt fabrics, it's only 45 inches wide, so I have to put a seam down the middle, which is fine. And this seam is not subject to my hand stitching, because that would just take so long and be pointless. I'm tired of hand sewing. I had to move into the living room because the floor is bigger in here, which means I had to clean the floor. Bonus points, it's a hard surface, which means that when I go to pin all the layers together, I won't be like accidentally pinning into the carpet. Bent safety pins are specific to quilting. They're, I guess, just easier to use than a regular one, or like straight pins. I didn't buy them, somebody gave them to me and I don't remember who. I'm pinning in the middle and working my way out in order to try to avoid there being like a bubble in the middle. This is blanket binding. I acquired it in a mixed bag of assorted doodads that I got at a thrift shop, and I don't know what I would do with it if I didn't use it on this, so we're using it. I gotta tell you, despite the fact that it is New Year's Eve, I am getting real hot having all of this on my lap. I have chosen to hand stitch the corners because I can just fold them in on themselves, tuck them in, and it's just so much easier this way.
So, what step are you doing now?
The quilting! That is to say, sewing together all the layers.
Do you gotta sew all of those seams?
Oh no, I'm only doing the hexagons. I have chosen to use white thread, even though not all of the hexagons are white, most of them are colored. So I have to be extra meticulous about making sure they look nice and all my stitches are even and tidy. So we're hoping for the best. I don't have a quilting hoop, so I'm just working on the couch. And again, hoping for the best. I'm not gonna buy a quilting hoop. I don't quilt that much.
Are you trying to help, or do you just want me to feed you?
I'm not even done with it yet and she already approves. Look at these cuties. And look at this quilt. It is finally finished.
Maybe the next one.
Because mine's upstairs. Do you approve of the quilt, Molly? Well, she's laying on it anyway. Thanks for modeling, Michael and Molly.